There are several types of web application architectures that you can use. Some of these are found in desktop apps as well, while some are not. What we call content architecture focuses on the definition of the overall hypermedia structure of the web app. Generally, there are four main types of structures. Linear structures follow a set path that a user should follow. Now, some may have optional pages, but it still follows a set path and the optional pages lead back into the main flow. You can kind of think of them like a side quest in the game. A good example of this might be some online learning, where you're expected to go through Module 1, then Module 2, etc. Sometimes you'll go off that main path to maybe get a definition for a word you don't understand, or maybe get a little bit of extra information about a topic that you didn't know what they were talking about, but it comes back to those original modules. A grid structure is an architectural option you can use to apply when your web app content can be organized categorically into two or more dimensions. For example, consider a situation where you have an e-commerce site that sells golf clubs. The horizontal dimension of the grid represents the type of club that you're going to sell. Woods, iron, wedges, putters, etc. The vertical dimension might represent the offerings provided by various golf club manufacturers. Hierarchical structures undoubtedly are the most common web app architecture. Unlike the partition software hierarchies discussed before, being able to dig down into more and more detailed example is something that we almost always expect. Think about going shopping online and choosing some apparel. Well, then you might need to say, well, I don't want just apparel in general, I'm going to choose children's clothing. But not any types of children's clothing. I need to then pick shoes. What type of shoes? Well, shoes that are for a child that falls under the clothing. And then underneath that, I might dig down on all the different types of shoes and then only look at sneakers. But we don't just find this in shopping. We can even find this in things like news. Our homepage might start off with just general news articles, but then I can go to sports, and underneath sports I might look at football, and underneath football I might look at pro teams, and underneath the pro teams I might look at a specific team. In a networked or pure web structure, architectural components, in this case web pages, are designed so that they may pass control via a link to virtually any other component in the system. This approach allows for considerable navigation flexibility, but at the same time, it may be confusing to the user, especially as the size of the web application grows to incorporate more and more content. Now, in comparison to the web design structure, we also have a web application structure. And this is going to describe the infrastructure that enables web-based systems or applications to achieve their business objective. This does not deal with how it's presented to the end user. The MVC is one of the most common types of architectures, and this stands for Model, Viewer, and Controller components. You can think of it as a three-tiered system. The model, sometimes referred to as the model object, contains all the application-specific content and processing logic, including content objects, access to external data and information sources, as well as processing functionality that is application-specific. The view contains interface-specific functions and enables the presentation of content and the processing logic, including all the external data sources and processing required by the end user. The controller is going to manage access to the model of the view, coordinating the flow of data between them.